Hello and welcome to Smoke Mayor's Gaming and Car Talk. Today I'm going to be going through my year in Warhammer 2023, the year I started Battle Sisters. So these are the squad of Battle Sisters I got with the Sanctorum Guard set, and there's Morvenn Vahl primed. One of the first ones I did back on 18th of February. As you can see, it's similar to a Bloody Rose scheme, using some Mephiston red, with Blood Angels contrast over the top. Corax white, Ceramite white scar, black guns with some metallic highlights, green for things like grenades. Going for like a black sort of blob for the eye with the green interior on the eyes. It could be a little bit neater, some of those could, but again, I did get better than this over time, but I was still pretty happy with these. Like the colour scheme. Models are quite fiddly. Probably wouldn't recommend Battle Sisters to people who are new to the hobby, as it were, but that was basically taking me up till the 12th of March there, and they were pretty reasonable. I think I was pretty happy with those at the time. Obviously I'm very slow at painting models. There's his Sister Superior, 26th of March, and again I magnetised her combi weapon, which turned out to be absolutely pointless for 10th edition, but at the time it was potentially useful. You never know, they might go back to that system. Here she's partially painted, but I haven't done the prime brown bits. This is more finished here with the melter gun attachment on the combo. And at this time I was still doing gold for power sword, so I kind of changed that up a bit later, but I don't know if I'm going to go back and fix them. I might just leave it as it is with a view to it looking like the modern ones I've done recently are turned on, and the old golden ones are just turned off and waiting to be activated. Again, going for the white hair there, which isn't supposedly mandatory on Bloody Rose, but they're not really Bloody Rose, they're just very, very similar. And I was trying to get a nice sheen on the black cloak, so I go for a sort of a leathery look there by layering thin coats of Abaddon black and things like Nuln Oil and Armour Wash, just to get it nice and shiny. So there we have the Simulacrum partially finished. Again, I did this sub-assembly. How you could do this fully assembled, I don't know. Getting your paintbrush inside the box to paint don't know. This is your Hive Tyrant. He was 2nd edition, done for melee attacks, and I got it in my head that maybe I could use him again. The trouble is, his loadout doesn't exist in 9th or 10th edition. I'm actually Battle Sisters there. This was the 11th of May. And this was a character I got free with White Dwarf in the 90s. Amber Wizard from Talisman he was. This was the Christmas box. This is what I had to paint. Squad of Battle Sisters, Sacrosancts, 2 Paragons, Morvenn Vahl. Then you've got the 2 Penitent Engines. That's the Simulacrum getting a lot closer now. Still not quite done. But I think that's pretty much done there. I think I was quite happy with that first 4 models for my Battle Sisters army. That was 13th of May. And again, I was starting to get the hang of faces a little bit now. Eyes were coming on a bit better. Not perfect, but, I felt like it was a step in the right direction. This one I wasn't quite as happy with. I think the paint needed thinning a little bit more for this one. And the highlights probably weren't as well defined as I wanted. But from a distance, it looks great. And the squad altogether it was starting to look like a proper squad by now. Again, but I was thinking about trying to magnetise a heavy weapon girl, but in the end I decided it was impractical at this stage. So I made a start on Morvenn Vahl, and in this case I actually did assemble the whole model, or in ways I regret it. I feel like I could have done a better job if I'd left it sub-assembled. I had been using burnished gold, which is like an old 90s Hexbot paint, but actually I started using chainmail with contrast ironed and level over the top, and that seems to work a lot better for gold. So this was the flamer attachment. I ended up making this a magnetic so it could become a multi-melter, because I thought that was more useful in some respects. And I did a bit more work on the Sister Superior there, basing it with some grass. This is Morvenn Vahl's head here. Again, I've just found it easier to paint it off. Similar to the box art colour scheme, but a little bit different there. Again, just the same sort of flavour, but not sticking to it strictly. And these are the spare heads that you get with Morvenn Vahl, the helmet heads. But again, I thought I like the model's look with the face, and I feel like I could have done this face better, but for the time it probably wasn't bad. And there's just one of the other big models, my old Hive Tyrant and Bjorn from the 90s. And yeah, I mean, I think that the black and white hair looked pretty much how I wanted it to. And again, that's what my painting skills were like circa mid-1990s, 1994, 95, something like that. So I do think I have got better since I restarted. And I thought the base was looking quite good on Val. And that was my Battle Sisters army so far. Still got the Cherub to do there and a couple more, so they were primed there with some base colours. Mephiston red for the base colours, brown primer. And this was still the pile of sprue that had come out of that set. We've got the Celestial Sacrosancts going next, and again I decided to magnetise all those. These were a bit intimidating. The Penitence engines weren't done till a lot later, until I had a lot more practice. But this girl turned out alright. I thought she was pretty good. She's one with the grenade and the microphone, and I did a bit more work on my scouts. That's your finished additions to the Battle Sisters squad. So we've got a full squad of 10 there, I think, now, with the Cherub, possibly, or maybe not. Maybe not yet. That came later. But we're coming up on the middle of the year now. Still getting through these Battle Sisters. And we're still looking at these scouts, trying to figure out how to sort these out. It may be that 10th had come out by now. I can't remember. I don't think it had, but there was talk of it. I know I wanted to make a Wolf Scout squad, and I wanted to make a full 10-man Sniper Scout squad, even though they essentially ended up in Legend. But this girl with the helmet open, I thought it turned out quite good. I was quite happy with this one. And that's pretty much the middle of the year sorted. Again, we've got the black helmet sort of eye socket with the green in the middle, so you get that kind of shadow effect around it. And the Armorium Cherub there has still not been not had the Null Oil treatment, but the squad was looking pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. Not really much of a playable army, but Cherub turned out okay, I think. There's the Simulacrum Sister again with the box on a stick, and there's one with the open helmet. Again, I think I have done a little bit of touching up on these, and that's the heavy weapons girl with the heavy flamer. And there's a couple more of those faces there. Again, hooded one. In some ways, I could have gone for more helmets with these, but I feel like they're quite nice sculpts, the heads are. I really like that face. I think that was probably one of my best faces at the time. And she's the one magnetised special weapons girl. This stage, I don't think I'd fully based all of these properly. That was to come later. Yeah, there she is with the Storm Bolter. And there she is with the Flamer, I think. There's Morven Val again with the grass and the bullet casings and skulls and things. This was another model I got free with White Dwarf in the 90s, and I gave that to my daughter. This is one of the scouts I converted to have a shotgun using Necromunda parts, and I was going to do the heavy bolter guy as well to make up a Wolf Scout squad, and I put the Sacrosancts together. I also found a spare Gene Steel, but I think it was missing 2 arms, so I decided to make arms out of cocktail sticks, green stuff. Yeah, I could possibly have bought arms if I dug around and found them, but it was a fun project, so I thought I'd use the knife to carve up some bits of sprue to make the claws, and then glue the cocktail sticks together, and then kind of paste the green stuff in a way to try and make them look sort of organic. And it kind of worked. I was relatively happy with these, actually. Some of them looked better than others. That's the nature of these things. My daughter painted the Amber Wizard guy. That's her base colours there she started doing, and she's done a bit more on him since then, but she's still not quite finished him, but she's a very casual painter. This was the Scout Squad again, middle of the year, July, and I started basing up the 2 extra guys for the Wolf Scout Squad. Then you've got Morven Val there. This is the Wolfguard Terminators from my main Space Wolf army, and then we've got more of the base colours on the Scouts. We had a bit of a game with my daughter and my son there. I was playing the Tyranids, she was playing the Battle Sisters, and my son was allying with her with the Space Wolves. Didn't go so well for the Tyranids. The Space Wolves had probably the best outing here, but Morven Val did very well. Celestial Sacrosancts were quite effective. it was a good game. We got the long fangs up there in the building, trying to get line of sight down onto the Tyranid special weapons guy. Now, this was an idea I had to use bits of sprue to make tiny bricks and to do tiny bricklaying to make some buildings. It works, but it does take forever, and it needs a lot of glue and a lot of sprue, and you're going to have to prime them and paint them afterwards. Once I've done all my models and I've got that massive pile of sprue, I may do some more of this and try and make this into a proper building. And I think it'll look quite good, but it will take forever. It's a seriously steady job. Just using the Scout there and the Terminator to get the scale for the windows and things. Now, this is a Paragon I started. This was the Hive Tyrant who, having found the Carnifex box with those spare bits at the end of last year's, and that was my son's Dreadnought, which he took me forever to get him to build because he wasn't that into it. I thought I'd try and get him into it, but he still hasn't painted it. But yeah, I was going to make that Hive Tyrant into a 9th, 10th edition legal Hive Tyrant by putting the Barbed Strangler on. And I even had the idea of using those weapons maybe to make some more Tyranid special weapons guy. Here we're adding a squad member to the Long Fang squad, and we're changing the Grey Hunters. So this guy was originally a rocket launcher guy, and now he's going to become a guy who can be a captain or a pack leader or a normal Grey Hunter. And these are the scouts that we're going to do. This was a Chaos Renegade Dreadnought I found from the 80s, and I've got some Necromunda figures I found a little after. I've sold the Chaos Dreadnought since. I think I got about 50 odd quid for it, which I was happy with. I did clean it up properly, get all the paint off, so whoever does it can paint it properly. This was how those Gene Stealers turned out, and here he's got the bolter now instead of the plasma pistol he originally had, and I've magnetised that hand so we can have a chainsword for a normal Grey Hunter and the power fist for a leader. And then I've magnetised some plasma guns for the Grey Hunters, and I magnetised the melter end of the gun for the heavy weapons sister, but not the whole gun, just because it's a lot easier. So you just put the magnets in the gun and in the two ends, which again I got off eBay. It's actually off a Paragon Warseed, I think, but you can just swap the ends of the guns over. These are the Paragons I've still got to do there. Now primed up and largely magnetised. Also did a bit of dry brushing on the Gene Stealers. I was thinking it's been 40 years, maybe I ought to finish them. Same on the Bioforce there. And I got those Celestian Sacrosancts magnetised and glued up together. Also I looked at the Spore Mines thinking I should probably finish that Tyranid army. These are the Warriors and the Lictor, obviously. That Carnifex really wants finishing. Here I'd primed the additional weapon for the second Hive Tyrant, and these are a squad of 5 Grey Hunters now. So I could split it in either have a squad of 10 or 2 squads of 5. Those are a new Sniper Scout and a Sniper Scout Captain, with the other ones going into Wolf Scouts, and those are the Tyranids. Again, I found the breastplates so I could prime them up and paint them and get them on, and that's the additional Long Fang who'll be going into their squad. These were spare because of the way rules changed between 2nd and 9th, so they're going to become Wolf Guard pack leaders in Terminator armour, and that's the Wolf Scout squad, not quite finished. Obviously we've got your Battle Sisters there, and we're coming up to October. We're getting through the year now. The Battle Sisters have extended by kind of like a full squad, a full character, and the Sacrosancts are on the way, and the Space Wolves have got a few extra models. Tyranids is a little bit of progress on a lot of models, but not really anything new to report. Those are those warriors there. There's your Carnifex, which I did a little bit more on, but you've still got a ways to go. And there's your Tyranids again there. Bit of flocking, because I decided any 2nd edition models I'm going to do in a 2nd edition style. So it was a Goblin Green base and flock, just for nostalgia's sake, really, and because I've got it. Any modern ones, I feel it wouldn't look quite right, so I'm going for a kind of muddy battlefield look on the modern ones. We've got like anything that's more recent. That's the banner I'd done for him. Again, we should magnetise so you can remove it and let him be a normal Grey Hunter, or you can stick the banner in, stick his power fist on, and he is a pack leader effectively. And doubly, you can actually pose the arm, so you can make it so he's pointing his chainsword or his power fist, whichever way you want, which is fun, but not really the purpose of it, but there you go. And that was back in November 2023. I was pretty happy with how these turned out. I did make them a lot more flexible. Looked at this face, wasn't happy with it really, thought I could probably do a little bit better. So I did a bit of a touch-up, and I thought it looked much better afterwards, actually. I'd also primed the black Terminator, thinking I'm going to make him another Wolf Guard. And I did him a bolt gun on a strap, just so it's WYSIWYG, fully WYSIWYG anyway. And I also started looking at where I could put these chainswords onto the rest of my Grey Hunters, so that they could all be WYSIWYG as well. Had a few options, didn't like that one. The two where it's sort of hanging at the hip or the side of the pack were the ones that looked better, I thought. And I always paint pink if I'm going to paint yellow on top, because for some reason painting yellow is really hard unless you're painting on top of pink, and then it's really easy. That's roughly about where I decided to go for these. I think I just had the vertical kind of drop at the back. Didn't quite look right, and definitely not the one where it's resting across the top of the backpack. So that were about 12th of November there. And we got all the swords ready and done. Again, had to buy those off eBay, but they did make the squad a lot better, I think. Then it suits them. That's the positions we've got lined up. Then moving on, we're going to have a look at the any second now. This was a games night. I found this in the loft again in a box of spare bits and bobs, and it was an advert from a Hanley in Stoke-on-Trent games night circa 1995, October 1995 this was. Tyranids, Icar 4 survived the attack by the Tyranids, but no. And then the other one was the attack on Outpost 49, 2 Imperial Guard units, bring your own miniatures, plus there will be games of Warhammer and Necromunda. This was a Chaos Space Marine Khorne, I think, that I got free with a White Dwarf back in the 90s. Never painted him. And that's the kind of improvements to the Space Force army now. I've done the chainswords, put some hazard stripes on, bit of blood, and I started working on these plasma guns, which, again, I got off eBay and needed magnetising and painting up. I didn't want to go for the usual blue plasma because it's kind of too similar to the armour, so I was going to go for sort of red plasma, thinking that would look better. And I'm pretty happy with those. And they do look a lot better with the swords, and it does mean that they're fully WYSIWYG, and I could feel the whole squad with the chainswords, just that extra 1 AP. That's a close-up of trying to get a little bit of glow around the actual, the bit of the gun that's got the red plasma sort of stuff in it. That was the head and the bits for the long fan guy I was adding to the squad. And that's my selection of 1990s hex pots and a few modern paints. Again, it's incredible, but a lot of these hex pots have survived. The old round pots at the back from the 80s haven't fared so well. Most of those are dried up and are unusable. I may try and restore some of them, but I may not. It depends if I can be bothered. These guys... there's the Tyranid getting ready to turn Hive-Tank, getting ready to have his part put on, and you've got the that's the nozzle for the magnetised heavy weapons girl, and that's the Sisters army so far. So we're getting close, and that's the Space Wolves army so far. 2nd of December, we've actually got a reasonable Space Wolves force, and we've got a reasonable Tyranid force, nearly, Could do with some Hormagaunts or Termagaunts or something, but the Genestealers are the kind of closest we've got to that. They just need painting out. They've been primed and dry brushed. This is a bit of the old pile of shame there, and that's the work area with the Space Wolves army at the top, Sisters army and the Tyranids army. That's when the swords went on with the plasma, and again that's magnetised, so you can have the pistol on the back or not. And I was quite happy with it. Again, the paints, this is paint on paint. The models that I had forever, and I just painted them up quickly in a hurry when I'd not really been into it very long, and I wasn't that good at it. just so I could have enough squads to play a decent game of Space Wolves versus Tyranids, really. Again, he's got the magnetised plasma pistol on his backpack, so if they decide to give things points, you can take it off, but otherwise it's a WYSIWYG guy, and you can have a plasma gun guy in each squad. There's your bolt gun guy again, Goblin Green bases with the flock. There's your Flamer guy, and let's see how he looks without the weapon. That's the melter gun nozzle for the gun 2. Can WYSIWYG the heavy weapon system to be either flame or melter gun, and those are those Grey Hunter guys with their swords actually attached on their hips so they can use them. He's got his plasma gun there, flamer on the floor, plasma gun on the back. Again, that's magnetic, so you can just pull it off if you don't want it. Pretty happy with them in the end. I know the paint job's not amazing, but they do the job, and they're good fun. And again, I just had a bit of fun with the banner there. I did actually get hold of some Space Wolves banners later, but I kind of liked the free-handed board. But I might redo it at some stage. Neither of them are great, but it does the job. It's a stopgap. There's your 2 plasma pistols. They've obviously got a different model there, but it kind of suits the Space Wolves aesthetic. And one of the guys got a slightly different plasma gun as well. It's a different model. But that's the whole army there with the Space Wolves. The second Long Fang, that Terminator doing a couple of scouts to finish. This was a little sticker I made for the Facebook post to do with just give the guy a Santa hat. And this is the progress on the scouts for the Wolf Scout squad. The Terminator, Wolf Guard with heavy flame, and the Long Fang guy. Again, he was kept bashed out of a Devastator. That's the head there. Again, I think I'd actually already done the head a long time ago, but I kind of did the extra one as a practice. But now I had a body, and they changed the rules so you can have 6 for 10th, so I was going to add that man into the squad. Went for a fairly standard pose with this one. Again, not my best face. I think I have got a lot better. This is more or less how I try and do it, because I think you need that bit of shadow around there, that bit of darkness. So I do a black blob, then a kind of white stripe in the middle. Then I try and cut the white stripe with a bit of black. Then if the white is a bit too thick, I'll go above and below with black to make it thinner. Then if the black is a bit too thick, I'll go above and below with flesh, which makes it look a bit like a highlight on the cheekbones and the brow as well. This is the guy with the flame who I've finally painted up, and I think you can see the difference between the one I painted in the 90s on the right and the guy on the left. This was the final member of the Long Fang squad. So we've now got 5 las guns and a melter gun, which in theory should be quite good, but actually, due to some horrible dice rolling, the last time they had a battle against some Chaos Knights, they didn't really do very much, unfortunately, but they do look like a cool squad. I do like my kit bashed las cannon Long Fangs, especially with the Dogley carrying the battery around. He's obviously a substitute for an Armorium Cherub. Again, that's the latest guy I added to the squad. Like the little lantern thing I put on the guy. I can't remember where I got that from, but I thought it did improve the base a bit, make him look a bit more interesting. And I think the pose is probably one of the better ones on this one. It does look like he's using a more legitimately plausible pose there. There's a full squad with the Dogley caps at the front there. And that's pretty much my year in Warhammer 2023. All the armies grew. Tyranids grew a little bit. Space Wolves grew a little bit. And the Sisters grew a little bit. But we still haven't really got a full playable 2,000 point army. That's probably going to come in the next episode, my year in Warhammer 2024, where I hope I got better at painting. And I think I got better at painting. So, hope you're enjoying all the Warhammer videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And ring that bell. And if you're interested in what I got up to in 2024 with Warhammer, you will find out soon. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.